is an origin reading for Time Will Tell. So to begin the reading, I do have my Isis statue here with me, and I do have a feminine energy coming in for you, which feels like a guide coming in with a very mothering energy, actually. And Isis here as well, even though she does not feel like a personal guide for you, it feels more like she is representing a mothering aspect, like a divine mother aspect. Okay, and I do have my guardian lion here, which to me represents my dragon. Looks like a dragon to me, but it's supposed to be a lion. But either way, it's my dragon, but I feel like I'm supposed to say lion as well for this reading. So very protective. It's a guardian dragon or a guardian lion. So there's also a very protective influence around. There is an energy guiding you, but there's also an energy protecting you and really wanting to protect you, wanting to guide you. And also, this guide really wants you to know that you are supported. And there is a mothering energy here with this guide and in general surrounding this reading. And that's really part of the message for this reading. It has to do with a mothering aspect specifically. And even right up at the front, before I began the reading, as I was setting up my sacred space, I started getting a lot of pains in different places, my back specifically. And that's not coming from me because I don't get pains in my back. And this was in my lower back. It started actually in the left shoulder. The left shoulder has to do with your mother a lot of the time. It has to do with the feminine side. It is your feminine side. The right side is your masculine side, but the left side is your feminine side and can often represent your mother, especially the shoulder. It can represent a parent or a grandparent or an ancestor, someone before yourself. And then I was getting a pain all of a sudden in my lower back, again on the left side. And the lower back has to do with emotional support. And when it's on the left side, and I also have this pain in the left shoulder, this really must signify females in your life, and it could very specifically be a mother, specifically also because of Isis coming in with a very mothering energy and your guide coming in with a very mothering energy. So there is this feeling of a kind of lack of support, or that there was when you were very young. There was a feeling of a lack of support, and this is going into past lives as well. And I do feel a past life that you also had with a mother who does not feel so supportive. It felt like a lack of support in that lifetime as well. So there are multiple lifetimes. I also feel a father figure also. So there are multiple lifetimes where you were not supported by a parent figure, whether it was emotionally or physically or mentally or all of those things, or even energetically on a spiritual level. But emotionally, um, is is really the downfall. I'm getting that word, downfall. That's really what brings you down, is these emotional needs not being fulfilled, and this happened when you were very young. And so there is a lot to clear, because these are old, and it's not just from this lifetime, it's also from past lifetimes. Okay, so they really want me to clear this, to focus on clearing this more. That is what she really wants me to be focused on during this reading. So, you know, I mean, we already did an aura clearing reading before the origin reading just so we could get the origin. But I still don't know if that's going to come through. And I've never had that happen before. I've never had to do 2 aura clearing readings, but I am not sure if this origin is going to come through or not. Whew. Okay, so I need to focus on really clearing this energy. That's what your guides want me to do. All right. So what crystal am I starting with here? Okay, so I have this rose quartz here. It looks so orange in the screen right now. But okay, I cannot start with this one. Okay, so I'm not starting with emotional support. I'm not starting with these types of energies. Okay, I'm not starting with clearing either. Okay, let me see here. Okay, so I'm starting with my citrine. Citrine has to do with personal power. It has to do with personal strength. And it has to do with you being independent. It has to do with you that you fulfill your own needs. And you can heal yourself because your needs are fulfilled by you. So this has to do with strength, and that you do not need anything. You don't need anyone, because this just feels like this desperate need. Feels like a desperate emotional need. And it feels like a need for a connection, and this especially with a female person. But a lot of this has to do with these energies from when you were young, with lack of female support. And I even feel a sister type of energy as well. And that may not be from this lifetime. I don't even so much sense that from this lifetime. It feels like a past lifetime. So whether you have a sister or not, this does feel like this is going into a past lifetime. So there are male energies too, but there's a feeling that the female energies just it has more of an effect on you. Okay, so I'm gonna start visualizing. Here we go. Okay. Ooh. Okay, that's never happened before. I'm having a hard time visualizing anything at all. I just feel this block all of a sudden, even as I'm just attempting to just start visualizing anything. And it's so strong that I am having difficulty even forming a mental image. There's just such a wall type of feeling, a very closed off type of feeling, very, very unopen. Okay, so let's start with Isis. That's what I'm going to start with. All right. Here. Whoa. Okay, that's working. Okay, so right away she is sending energy to your root chakra, and she is really blasting energy. She is attempting to send an extreme amount of energy, and the root chakra has to do again with support and like kind of in the most primal way. And certainly when it comes to survival, but also certainly when it comes to childhood, it's a very instinctive chakra. It's a very survival based chakra, and it really is all about your needs being met. And when you get to the earth plane feeling secure and feeling that your needs are going to be met, and really anybody who has difficulty in this way with emotional support from parents is bound to have at least some root chakra issues, even if it's slight. But this really feels also like it cuts you off from your connection to Earth, to the Divine Mother Earth as well. So it would also be good to work on building that connection, on rebuilding that connection to Mother Earth. And Mother Earth can give you grounding as far as your path. Because being blocked from Mother Earth, also it blocks your feet as well. Not only your root chakra, which has to do with your security, as well as your ability to manifest physical things, but it really has to do with a secure feeling and grounding, and that you are safe, you are secure, you are fearless. And it's a chakra that can hold on to a lot of fears and attempt to really hold itself back. Someone with root chakra issues, they can attempt to close off from others, close off energetically, but also emotionally. And just in many ways to close off from others because of a fear of rejection, a fear of being hurt. And yet at the same time, there's a fear of being alone, of being perpetually alone. And there's just a very, 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 very sad energy. A very, very alone energy. And a very heavy energy. Very give up energy. But you do not need the emotional support of others to feed yourself. And you are the one who is accountable for feeding yourself. Now that you are an adult, anyway. Not when you were a child, to a degree, certainly. On a soul level, definitely. And to a degree, even as children, obviously, we are still accountable for feeding our own selves, and children are certainly quite capable of doing that, and quite capable of looking at obstacles in a very positive way. But also, even astrally speaking, even for a little baby who seems totally dependent on their mother and their parents for their survival, especially their mother for survival. Even so, when the baby is sleeping, their soul is out exploring or even nurturing who they are in some way, but as well even physically. So surrounding the body that they are going to be in, surrounding it with energies. And surrounding the body that they have come into with protective energies and with various energies to help it in a physical way, to help it with its health. So even then, even at that stage, we do help ourselves. And you're not alone, but at the same time, this desperate need for love, it feels like, for love from another, is at the same time, it really is unfounded. For the reason that you have all the power that you need within yourself, within who you are. And you are capable of fulfilling yourself and feeding yourself completely. At the same time, they do understand why you would want that connection, why you would want a sense of connection. And they do understand how you were programmed here on earth, individually, but also because humanity in general is programmed that way. To feel that romance can give them fulfillment. Romance can give them peace, but also in general, not only romantically, but in general, connections. People are programmed to feel that they need connections with others to be at peace with who they are. To accept themselves, they have to be accepted by another, and to reach themselves, to feel themselves, they have to feel someone else. They have to feel close to someone else in order to feel that they are all right with being close with themselves. And so it's really dependent on someone else, on what someone else feels about them, and on how they are able to feel about someone else. And so connections are a good way to connect with yourself, but at the same time, it's a good way to connect to yourself because people are reflections of us, and so they reflect who we are back to us. But at the same time, ultimately, we are with ourselves at the same time. Ultimately, that's who you spend your day with and your night with and all time with, not someone else. You are the only one that you are with at all times. You're the only one that you're with constantly. And no one else can be with you constantly. Okay, some more clearing. Okay. All right. So now I have my citrine here once again. So I am basically feeling pretty much every chakra. There's the sacral chakra. And the sacral chakra again has to do with a lot of fears. It is an area where trauma can be held. It's a very emotional chakra. It's also a very sexual chakra, very sensual chakra. So it has to do with emotional bonds. It has to do with romantic bonds. But it still at the same time has to do with being supported and being emotionally supported. It still has to do with family and it has to do with other relationships. So it's not only a sexual chakra, it's not only a romantic chakra. So even a lot of childhood fears can be held in the sacral chakra. But so this pain that I had in my lower back, then it kept coming up higher into the middle of my back, which is the back of the solar plexus. And so what this is really saying is that this feeling of being very unsupported and all of this fear and also this shutdown and these different emotions. And the lower back is behind the sacral chakra. So even at the very beginning, that really pointed to a sacral chakra issue. But the solar plexus has to do with your determination and your drive and your willpower. And so it is a chakra that has to do with manifesting as well. Manifesting, grounding, it has to do with your career, your passion, your joy. It also has to do with your health and your well-being. So it can have to do with your vitality, like your physical vitality, but it can also even have to do with other bodies, emotional and mental. So if you have a solar plexus issue, you can be very lethargic. And there certainly is a lethargic type of feeling. Not like a laziness, not like you are lazy, and maybe sometimes you don't really do anything and you don't want to do anything, but it doesn't feel like it's a laziness. It doesn't feel like you just don't want to do anything. You would want to do things, but there is a feeling more of exhaustion, more like mental exhaustion, emotional depletion, and this lethargy, this being more of the reason that you wouldn't do something, not really a laziness, but that also can be a result of the solar plexus having issues. Or I could say it the other way around too. I mean, that the emotions affect the chakra. So it's really both. But then it goes up more. It goes up. I keep feeling it in the back of the neck, so behind the throat. And the throat has to do with your will, your drive, your creativity. So in some ways it's similar to the solar plexus, but it's also a very creative chakra and also has, of course, to do with communication. However, the back of the neck unassociated with the throat chakra. Also on its own, it is a psychic center at the back of the neck here. It's sort of like a psychic vortex is located at the back of the neck. And so this shows me even psychically, energetically, there is a shutdown, there's a close off. Yeah, okay. And I'm remembering now from your one of your emails from weeks back where you mentioned something about trouble connecting to your guides, and I'm being reminded of this. Something to do with trouble connecting to your guides, but even this, it is from this shutdown, this energetic shutdown, and this emotional shutdown. Okay, so okay, so this the citrine, the energy from this started going directly into your third eye. That's where the citrine instantly was sending the energy, and your guides as well, as I'm sure they're also directing the energy from the citrine, but it was sending it to the third eye, but then it kept going down and attempting to clear energies beneath. But then where it really comes to a halt is at the sacral chakra. That is really a very blocked chakra, is the sacral chakra. And there's a very strong emotional block that it hits up against. A very strong block that it hits up against of this programming of needing to find another, needing to be with another, and longing to be fulfilled by someone else. And it's not that that desire is negative, or that there's a problem with the desire itself. It's more this emotional influence behind it's the influence behind it. That's when it becomes negative. That's where it becomes negative, and why it has become negative. And at the same time, this feeling of pushing away others who would fulfill that, and not energetically being able to attract sound individuals who would feed you the right energies, and who also would be fed by you. There would be an exchange. There would be an equal exchange. Instead, this chakra is very open, very insecure, and too open. Too open. The chakra is too open. This chakra is not so much closed. This chakra is just too open, but it's mainly the aura that they're kind of referring to, even more so. The aura. The aura surrounding the chakra, it's too open. So it's not just the chakra, it's just the whole energy surrounding the sacral chakra. It's too open. And so this just gives room for you to be hurt and to be damaged and to attract energies that are just going to come from this pain and not really clearing it out. And in some ways, you kind of think that that longing is a good thing, that would solve something. This is part of the programming that humans have, and individually, and that you have. It is this idea that when your needs are met, when your needs will be met, it will be because of someone else fulfilling your needs for you. Emotionally, it's completely emotional. It's emotional. Okay, so let's switch here to the rose, whoa. Okay, this is feeling like it was at the very beginning. Okay. So this chakra is well, first it was having to break through a lot of energies before it could really send any energy um, to you directly. But now it seems to be working on the back of your neck, on this vortex here. There again, too open. This chakra at the back of the neck, this vortex, this is too open. The problem with that, when you have a psychic center like that is so open, is that you can end up attracting unwanted energies and unwanted vampiric energies as well that will just feed off of yourself. And this can be a person who senses that sort of weakness in you, that certain areas of you are open energetically, and this person can sense this consciously, or they can also sense it subconsciously. I mean, not all psychic vampires go around knowing that they're psychic vampires. In fact, the majority wouldn't realize. They would not know that they are one. But that doesn't mean that you should allow them into your space. Whether they're doing it consciously or unconsciously, they are negatively affecting people around them, people that they pull energies from. And they're still doing it regardless of whether it is consciously intentional or not. But this area is very open. And you're wanting support from your guides as well, because there's a connection to this and the lower back also. You're wanting this emotional support from your guides as well. I feel like all of these issues really, they're going to this sacral chakra. And the root chakra also, which has all to do with fears, like I was saying, fears and being supported and having or not having a sense of security and feeling like you are safe and comfortable to be who you are and grounded and you're secure on earth. Whoa. But this can also attract unwanted energies astrally as well. That can also zap you. And what I was getting at, what your guides were getting at, was, yeah, there is this connection from this vortex to the lower back. And so there is this wanting support from your guides, but when it's so open and it starts attracting negative energies around it, like for instance, if I do too many readings, I will start feeling like I have all this negative stuff around me. And so I have learned basically how many readings I can do, at least at this point, how many readings I can do during one day, and do I need to have a break in between the readings? How long does the break need to be? Or how many can I do back to back? And then if I can do more that day, when do I need to take a break in between? And this type of thing. If I do too many in a row, or if I do too many in a day, I will start feeling this negative stuff around myself. And that is just because of how open I've become, that things are attracted to that when you are that open. So that's as a for instance. And so if you start attracting all this stuff to yourself, eventually you are going to have this energetic shutdown. And so this is attracting all this energy here, so it starts shutting down. And so you want this emotional support from your guides, which even that, it's coming from a programming in a negative way. So you can, there is a programming, yeah, of needing support, like your guides were saying. So it can be a positive thing to seek a connection with someone else, or even to seek to be supported, but not in a dependent way, not where you're reliant upon it through any of the bodies, whether it's physical or emotional or mental or energetic, which is vampirism really, would be the energetic version where you need someone's energy because you lack it on your own. And that's the programming. It's when you are dependent on another in any way because you lack it yourself. You lack it within yourself. And that's why it feels like this desperate need. And so that is a negative thing. But when you have all this negative coming towards it, then it shuts down. And then even though you want, in both a positive way and a very programmed negative way, support from your guides, you are unable to get it, because even though in some ways it seems like you would have more access because of how open some of your chakras are, some of your chakras are closed, some of them are too open. So even though, since this is a psychic vortex and it's so open, doesn't that seem like you would have more access to your guides? But at the same time, it's kind of clamped shut. It would be difficult to send you information because it's too open, and it's been too open for too long. And part of this is because of not having grounding. The root chakra is all about grounding. That was the first one that Isis was going after, was the root chakra. And that, again, it has to do with your securities. So she was talking a lot about, connecting to the energies of the earth to help you with grounding. But at the same time, it's not just in this spiritual way of connecting to earth and, I love nature and this type of thing. Your root chakra. So it's not only, there are so many different types of grounding. It's not only grounding in a financial way, security, independence. It's about your emotional grounding as well. So they're saying that it can be very therapeutic to open up this chakra and to feel the energies of the Divine Mother. But what it's really about, it's not just about connecting to the earth or connecting to a Divine Mother aspect, or grounding in the way of connecting to the earth. Even though that is something that they suggest, they want to relate to you that what it is really about doesn't have to do with that type of grounding. That type of grounding can help you to feel more relaxed, more sure, more secure, but that is ultimately what it is about. And that is what you are removing. You are removing this deep feeling of being afraid. This is a fear. It can mask itself like other things too, but really deep down it is a fear. And you know that it's a fear. I feel that as well. That part of you does know that this is ultimately a fear. But they are really pointing that out. That is what you are removing, this struggle to feel secure in your survival, in your environment here on earth. And again, this goes back to your childhood. And that is really the source of it. That's really what needs to be worked on. Is getting grounded, feeling love for yourself unconditionally, so you don't have a condition placed on it by another, and you don't give somebody that domain. You don't give someone that power where they are going to be the reason that you accept yourself or don't accept yourself. And at the same time, closing off to others will naturally lift when you feel secure in who you are. But I feel like this need will take a long time to release, because this also has to do with past lifetimes. And there's a very depressing energy with this need feeling. There's a very, very depressed energy with this. There's even like a suicidal energy with this. Like I've been picking up on that as well at points during this reading. Like this can at times be very, very, very negative and very drowning, very overwhelming. And it can be very difficult to hear the voices of somebody positive when you're so open and have attracted a lot of negative energies towards yourself. So I realize that, and they're kind of saying this as well, that in some ways this reading is not going on about solutions, but in a way it is, because it's showing you the source. And that's really what you need to understand. You really need to grasp what this is about. That this is about your fears. It is about your security on the earth plane, your survival in a very primal way, your connection to a female energy and someone who took care of you. So assuming your mother, and it could be other female energies around you as well. It also goes back to past lives. At the same time, there is a very protective energy around you. A very, very loving, guiding, protective influence around you that is not going to allow you to fail or to falter ultimately. And you will get through this. It is part of your path of self-expansion to move through this time period. So it can seem like it's lasting forever, but it's really a short while. Because time is an illusion. You just need to understand the source of this, and you need to start working to remove these fears and to look past these fears and this need for fulfillment from an outside source, and to realize that you are your own source of power. You are your own source of food. You are your own source of love. And you are your own source of happiness. Okay, so the last crystal I'm coming to is my zoisites. And This very much has to do with grounding the zoazite, but it is specifically about fears, releasing fears, and it is about trusting the universe, trusting that the universe takes care of you, that the universe supports you, trusting that you are supported, that you are taken care of. And so it is also a very grounding stone, a very root chakra stone, even though it's quite green. But it does have to do with emotional support as well. And green is a heart chakra color. And it's also a nature color, which has to do with grounding, with connecting to Mother Earth and nature. But that's really what this crystal is all about, is releasing fears and trusting. Trusting in yourself, trusting in who you are, trusting that you take care of yourself, that a higher aspect of you is looking out for you, or you can say the universe as well is looking out for you. But this is really yourself, your reality. You look out for yourself. And not in a negative way, not in this shut down, closed off way like I don't need anyone else. It's not that kind of thing. It's just not needing to feel so dependent on someone else that you give your security away, that your own security, your own fulfillment depends on them, as your guides were saying earlier, but also your own security as well. That your security goes away if someone hurts you, that your trust goes away, that you become jaded if someone does something to you negatively. So your guides are saying, so remain open. It's that simple. It might not sound that simple. It might not seem that simple. It's certainly easier said than experiencing. But they're saying learn to be open, learn to trust, and at the same time clear out these energies and shut yourself off more energetically at the same time, but in a positive way, not a shut down and not like closing off emotionally, but at the same time just protecting yourself energetically. Okay, so that is the end of this reading. So thank you very much. Time will tell for allowing me to do this reading for you, and I truly hope that it benefits you. Namaste.